Okay, guys, we'll get started here. August 16th, 2013. Thanks for joining the webinar. It's Brian Dershow and Matt Lau in Davie, and I'll do an introduction here in a minute to our friends over at Roland. A couple newsworthy things just to start off the conversation this afternoon. And again, thanks for everybody who joined in. Looks like we're well attended again. A couple things going on here. And then I'll get over to Jack to do a presentation on the product that we're going to engage in and work with Roland on the repair side. We opened a new territory in Cobb County, Georgia today with on Monday with Peter Langstrom. Andy was out there just returning today, so the opening went fantastic. Congratulations to Peter. We graduated a trainee today, Paul Horschel, who will be opening in the Treasure Coast down here in South Florida, working for Matt Lau. And we've got a training class starting on Monday with territories to be opened in Vancouver, British Columbia, Kansas City, Missouri, and Phoenix, Arizona. So we're excited about that. So a lot going on here. We're keeping busy and trying to stay cool in this hot weather. What we're going to talk about today is the relationship that we've established with Roland, who has a really cool product that they're out developing and selling that is being utilized by lab and lab owners. And the way the engagement is going to work, and I'm not going to get into all the details today, but Roland will be a feed vendor of ours. The same type of relationship that we would have with a company like Pancorp, where they send us assignments, they send us repairs, it goes through account management, they schedule it, you guys will see the order and go execute the repair. The importance of today's call is really to introduce the product, go through a product description of what it does, and then talk about the next steps, which is going to be remote training for everybody, so that everybody can get up to speed and trained on how the product works and be able to go out into the market and repair the equipment. It's a milling machine that is being purchased by lab owners, and we're going to see these machines in your higher end, more factory, I guess I'll say, oriented labs. Guys that are running bigger labs, understand and know the industry. So we probably won't see this in a mom and pop, some of those smaller labs that I know we've all been in that are kind of disorganized. These are going to be more in high-tech, cutting-edge lab facilities. So with that, let me introduce from Roland. We've got actually a couple people on from Roland, but I'm going to introduce Jack, and Matt Anderson is our rep down here in South Florida. He's on the call, and I want to thank him personally for joining. And Jack, I'll turn it over to you. And as we go through the deck, just tell me when you want to go to the next slide.
All right, perfect. Hey, thanks for joining, guys. Again, my name is Jack Pazorski. I'm the Field Services Manager for Roland DGA. And as Brian said, the PowerPoint, I'm just going to kind of blaze through some of these slides just to get you familiar with the product, so you know what's going on in the field. So just a quick overview. We have a DWX50. It's a dental milling machine. And what we're going to cover today is who Roland is as a company, so you can get familiar with who we are, the key features of the DWX50 and its major components, material usage, and some technical resources that we offer you guys as service technicians. So who's Roland? So you probably heard the Roland name based around music equipment. So yes, we are the same company as the company that makes keyboards and guitar pedals and whatnot. We also manufacture printing devices, which we're really well known for, engravers, jewelry. We're very well noted in the jewelry design and manufacturing industry as well, and now the dental industry with the dental mills that we're manufacturing. We're kind of known in the industry and all these other industries that we play in. We're kind of known for our ease of use, end user documentation, and just how easy it is to operate our equipment. It's kind of one of our things. We're ISO certified, and we also back all of our products, kind of known in the industry for backing it with really solid warranty coverage and technical expertise and technical services. DG globally was a $357 million company last year, and when I say globally, we're owned by a company called DG in Japan, in Hamamatsu, Japan, and then throughout the world there's separate business units, and DGA, Digital Graphics America, is the largest business unit worldwide. And one of the more interesting things about our products is many of our products are manufactured, and this is kind of the coolest thing that I think is about Roland. They're manufactured through a process called the digital yatai, and what that is the the majority of the products that we manufacture don't get manufactured on a production line. They're manufactured from the ground up by one person. It's called a digital yatai. They're set up in cells, and a computer program walks them through the manufacturing process. So it's one person build, and we've been award-winning cell production. Next slide, please. So let's talk about the features real quick about the DWX50. These are their key features. So the key feature is it's a 5-axis simultaneous milling device. What that means is there's 5 axes that the puck or what you're milling can actually move to get a detailed product at the end. It also has a 5-station automatic tool changer, which means when you're going through the milling process, you can utilize different tools, or what the industry commonly calls burrs. And what is really cool about our product is it's an open architecture product. Previous to when we launched this product, a lot of the competitors that were selling things that would do the same thing was a closed architecture, meaning that you would buy their hardware, you had to use their consumables, their software, and it was really closed down. Well, we came to the market with an open architecture product to where they could just buy our device. It's an open source driver, so any CAD CAM software can release drivers and driver devices. And it comes at a very affordable price compared to the other ones that were previously in the market as well, at $29,995. Next, please. So here's a list. I'm not going to go through all of these guys. Here's a list of all of the DWX major features besides the 5-axis and the automatic tool changer. It has automatic air blowing devices, lamp calibrations, a whole slew of user-friendly features. Next, please. So just to dig a little bit deeper, and I think I maybe went a little bit too detailed on the product here, but I kind of wanted to give you an overview of mechanically what's going on inside of this device. So you have what's called a rotary access unit, and that's the unit that the material that you're actually milling fits into that moves in those 5 axes. Well, that's moved forward and back, up and down by the drive system, and these are simple stepper motor drive systems. So you have your X, Y, and Z drive systems. I circled where the stepper motors are. You're, from a repair standpoint, really probably not going to be in here that often because the stepper motors have a 20,000-hour life expectancy. Next, please. So the rotary access unit is the heart of the product. So the angling of the unit itself is also stepper motor driven. So again, you're probably not going to be repairing these. And in fact, if one of those stepper motors need to be replaced, we actually just replace the entire rotary access unit. We don't replace just the stepper motors on this unit. But as you can see, it has a 360-degree plus or minus A-axis, and then plus or minus 20 degrees on the Y-axis there in the lower right-hand corner. Next, please. So the automatic tool changer is, so when you're milling these devices, you put in a solid puck of zirconia, and we'll talk about materials in the next couple of slides. When you first start out a job, you're going to want a bigger burr or a bigger drill to get to the material. And you can set up different strategies in all of the higher-end CAD CAM softwares to say, okay, go grab the bigger bit to rough this out and then get smoother and smoother and smoother to get a nice detailed final piece. Next slide, please. So on that ATC unit, it has a couple of sensors that will help from ruining product, basically. So it goes over and it grabs a tool, it measures, it makes sure that the tool was placed back in the tool changer correctly by measurement off of the height of the tool changer itself, and there's a little sensor. And then if you go to the next slide, please. When it removes the tool from the housing, it actually measures the tool itself to make sure that the tool is not broken. This also cuts down on wasted material. Next slide. So the details, I like this slide because it gives you a detail of where most of the work that's going to be done from a repair standpoint is going to happen. And it's a slide that kind of details how the ATC unit works. So on the left-hand side there, that's the whole ATC unit. On the top, you have the ATC motor, and on the bottom is what's called the spindle, where the spring is inside the spindle. So the ATC motor basically just opens and closes that spring, which releases the collet, which is the blue part, which grabs the tool. And then on the right-hand side, you have the spindle motor and the belt that attaches to the spindle. So these are the components that are going to be, repaired more commonly than anything else in the machine. The stepper motors that I was talking about earlier, they're not going to fail that often because they're low duty and long life. These are very high duty parts in the machine. This is what's doing all the work. Next slide, please. So also on the device, there's an air blower system, and you're going to need, it doesn't come with the machine, but the machines that you walk up to will have compressors hooked up to the machine for an air blower. It just basically removes the material away from the burr as it's milling to keep it a nice clean surface as it's milling. Next. Air compressor specifications. I know when we were out visiting you guys down in Florida, I know you guys are working on some air compressors, so I just put a slide up here on some of the air compressor items and what you need for air pressure and capacity. Next, please. Dust collection. So there's a dust collection tray that's around the access unit. There's a vacuum that, again, is not included with the product, but they'll have a vacuum hooked up to the machine that is removing any of the dust from the milling area. But there's also a tray that's going to grab like larger chunks of milling material that the vacuum's not going to be picking up. Next, please. So earlier we were talking about the materials that we can handle in mill. So it's a universal clamp system that can handle a variety of materials in the market. It works best with stepped material blanks, as shown there on the left. You can see there's a little step notch around the outside. Next. And we also have optional clamps that you can put into the machine to accommodate other milling materials that are on the market, like pin materials. Next, please. So what can we mill? We can pre-cinchered zirconia is probably the most popular milling device that customers are using. Then wax, PMMA, and then pin-type nanoceramics. Next, please. Another great feature is the driver for the device can handle up to 4 units, and some of the customers that you'll be going into are going to be a little bit higher end and have a whole fleet of these devices. Next, please. And email notification. So during that whole process we were talking about before with the automatic tool changer, and if it finds like a broken burr or any kind of errors that come up on the device, it will actually notify the user, and you can configure the software to send messages to the user via email. And the vacuum system, as we discussed before, here's a little bit of information on the vacuum system. It requires a 8 kPa of static pressure. Again, it's not included with the device. It's an easy fitting on the front of the device, so the customer can clean out the inside of the device quite easily. Next, please. And the virtual controls, we call it a V panel. This is the heart of the software that drives it. It's like a virtual, most machines you walk up to have the control panel right on the machine. We go more virtual panel with it, and it's more software driven. And I'm not going to go into the details of all of the settings in there. I just wanted to let you know. And then for technical resources, which we, like I said at the beginning of the presentation, we're kind of known for. We have our public support site that has all of our drivers, updated firmware for devices that end users can get to. We have a dealer portal that we can discuss later on for our dealers and service centers. And then we have our dealer hotline emails and the 888 Roland 6, which as a technician, don't give that out to end users, because as a technician, that gets you to the front of the queue for our support site.
Fantastic, Jack. I mean, absolutely great job with the presentation. Just to kind of go backwards here and digress for a minute as to what's going on again with this relationship. I see some people joined in the middle of the presentation. Roland and their team has come to see us in Davie. We have this machine in training, and we're training all franchisees that come through training now on this machine. Now, the key question is how are we going to get work and how are we going to get trained? I mean, those are really the next steps, and the immediate next step is how everybody is going to get trained, and it's going to happen remotely through the team in Roland out in California through a series of webinars. Jack, is that what we're shooting at, and do we have a date in line for when we think that might happen?
Yeah, I just followed up with our training director this morning, and they said it's going to be another 2 to 3 weeks until we have that launched on our Roland Academy online system.
So as soon as we get word from you, Jack, we'll send out, or I'll send out rather, a informational piece, an email to all the franchisees and operators as to how you get trained, when the training is going to be, and then from there. We've got an internal process, Dental Fix and Roland, that we work through, a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff as to when these jobs come in, how they get dispatched. As far as the concern of the operator or the franchisee on our end, it's going to be as simple as we see it with Pancorp now. I mean, you'll get something akin to a PO, and obviously you'll decide whether or not you're going to want to do the job. I think almost always we'll do it unless it's a very far drive and it doesn't make sense logistically. Other than that, we'll take the job, and we've got a process that will drive us through the repair and then into invoice and finally into payment. And we'll get into some of those specifics later on. This was more for the introduction of the product and the relationship. I see a couple questions out here. Let me see here. I got a question from Michael Leonard is asking if we can sell this too. Initially, no, we're working on the repair side of it. And Jack, how many of you guys sold nationwide so far?
I don't have that number in front of me right now, but last month I think we sold 30.
Yeah,
30 to 35
I think Ron told me about 500 to 1,000. So yeah. Roland expects, and from our conversations with Roland, we expect these things to move pretty quickly. And Roland works through a network of dealers similar to what we see in the dental industry. At this point, it's not going to be sold by us, but it's going to be serviced by us. Can we sell this too? I'm just reading through some of the questions here. The question is, we're not a distributor of this product. This is solely for repairs. What are the comparable products that an office would have that relate to this product? Jack, you want to talk about it? I mean, guys, it's not in the dental office. At least it's not in the dental office yet, because it's not a chair-side milling machine. It's a milling machine for labs. So when we get calls on this, we're going to be going to dental labs to do the repairs. And I think that answers the question. In the immediate future, and Jack, correct me if I'm misspoken here, I mean, this is not for rollout as far as sales go to dental offices, chair side, for at least the foreseeable future.
That'd be a correct statement. We are coming out with new versions of this product that could possibly be put there, but nothing in the foreseeable future.
Sure, sure. A question came in, how do we know if this equipment is in our territory? Good question. I mean, what we'll see is that if a service call is needed, it will be put on your calendar through account management. So I'm sure Roland has a list of where everything was sold, but as to whether or not it's in your territory, it's all over the United States, and we'll know about it when the service call comes in for your specific territory, for a lab in your territory. Is the product, Jack, in Canada? We've got a few folks on from Canada.
Yes, we are selling product in Canada.
I got a question on the rates of payment. That's all negotiated. We've negotiated an hourly rate, a destination charge, and a mileage charge, and that will be on the PO. Noah asks, who are the dealers? You want to talk about your dealer network, Jack?
We have a number of dealers throughout the too long of a list to actually say right now, but one of our bigger dealers up in the Northwest, it would be CAP, and they're located throughout the United States and Canada.
It's not
our region.
Go ahead, Jack.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say our regional sales managers are constantly developing the channel for sales.
Is it being distributed through the same network as the copy machines?
No, absolutely not. It's a completely different network.
And so it's not being sold through the major dental dealers, Henry Schein, Benco, Patterson.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, yeah, it's not being distributed in that way. Carlos, can we have the name of the dental labs that carry this unit in Ontario? I think I kind of answered that in an earlier question. I mean, if a repair comes in from the specific lab, you'll be dispatched through account management. Good questions out there. I think that's all I see popping up. I think we've gone through all of these questions. So again, for the next steps, you guys will get a correspondence with details on how to get trained and be certified to do the repairs. The next thing you'll see after training is when a repair comes up within your territory, and the dispatch, the PO, and the information as to where that repair is, and then obviously you'll go execute the repair. You'll invoice Dental Fix the same way that you guys would invoice us now on a PanCorp job, and we'll go and invoice Roland, and then the payment will come from us directly to the franchisee. So I think that was pretty comprehensive, Jack. Again, I appreciate you taking some time out of your day. To everybody that's on the line, as always, Friday afternoons seem to be the best time. I appreciate everybody getting on. We were well attended. Expect a webinar or at least a go-to meeting next week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday. We're working on a new vendor relationship, which once it gets solidified, we want to make an announcement probably next week, so we're excited about this. So look for an invite coming out from me for a meeting request. Probably next Tuesday evening or Wednesday evening for a exciting announcement. Matt, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
No, sir.
Okay, fantastic. Jack, thanks for putting this deck together. Give Ron my best, and Matt Anderson again down here in Florida. Thanks for jumping on. We've got to coordinate with this next training group. Guys, thanks again. Have a good weekend.
Hey, thank you guys. Have a good weekend.